There's a kind of suffering we rarely talk about. It's not the dramatic, visible kind. It's not heartbreak on a movie screen. It's not tragedy set to violins, it's quiet. It's the slow ache behind your eyes when no one's watching. It's the tension in your chest when life feels meaningless. It's the silent dread that follows you even on good days. You smile, you work, you move through life. But underneath it all, there's a weight that whispers, why does this still hurt? Why do I still feel empty? What's the point of any of this? Marcus Aurelius, Emperor of Rome, once sat with those same questions. He ruled the most powerful empire in the world, and yet he wrote privately. In his journal, you could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do. Say and think. This wasn't a man who was numb. This was a man who felt everything, and yet refused to be owned by it. Because Marcus understood something most people miss. Suffering is not what happens to you. Suffering is how you meet what happens to you. Pain is inevitable. Loss, betrayal, confusion, no one escapes these things. But suffering, that's a story, that's a decision, a mental loop, a pattern of meaning you assign to pain until it becomes your identity. You lose a job and tell yourself you're worthless. Someone leaves and you believe you're unlovable. Life goes still, and your mind screams that something must be wrong. This is suffering. Pain resistance, pain asks, will you let me move through? Suffering answers no. Stay, let me build a home here. And that's the trap most people fall into. They cling to pain like it defines them. They rehearse old wounds until they scar over their joy. They mistake struggle for meaning and endurance for identity. But Marcus Aurelius didn't suffer like that. He didn't try to erase pain. He learned how to face it without becoming it. He practiced a radical form of mental freedom. He asked himself over and over, is this in my control? Does this require a reaction or just awareness? Can I allow this moment to be without giving it power over me? And here's the part that might change your life. You don't need to escape your pain to stop suffering. You need to stop feeding it with your mind. Well, go deeper into the methods Marcus used to endure betrayal, war, death, isolation without becoming bitter, hollow or numb. But first, just take this in. You are not broken because you feel pain. You are not weak because you're tired, and you are not alone in the quiet ache that no one else sees. You are simply human, and that's where your power begins. Rewriting the meaning of pain. Pain on its own is clean. It arrives, it burns, it passes. But the moment your mind grabs it, labels it, turns it into a story, it lingers. It becomes memory, it becomes identity, it becomes suffering. You were never taught how to sit with pain. You were taught to escape it. Numb it, outrun it, fix it fast, so when life hurts, your mind reaches for control. So I shouldn't feel this way. This must mean something is wrong with me. If I was stronger, this wouldn't hurt. And just like that, you've added layers. Pain becomes shame. Pain becomes fear. Pain becomes a verdict against your soul. But Marcus Aurelius didn't run from pain. He studied it, he questioned it. He wrote, if you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it. And this you have the power to revoke at any moment. Read that again. You can revoke your estimate, you can rewrite the meaning. Pain is not the enemy. Your interpretation is, and if you change the meaning, you change the experience. Let's break this down. Let's say someone you love walks away. Your brain wants to say this means I'm not enough. But is that true? Or is that a story? What if the truth is they couldn't face their own wounds? They weren't meant to walk the rest of the path with you. Their absence is painful. Yes, but it does not shrink your worth. Now the pain is still there, but the suffering begins to loosen because the story has changed. Or maybe you fail at something big. Your brain screams, this is who I am now, a failure. But is that the only story? Or could the truth be? You tried something bold, you grew. You gained data, depth, direction. The pain of failure stays, but suffering loses its grip. Why? Because you are no longer agreeing with the lie. You are not your losses. You are not your pain. You are not your worst moments. You are the one who survives them. And every time you rewrite the meaning, you reclaim your mind. You take the pen back from fear. You choose power over pity. You choose clarity over chaos. This is what Marcus practiced not once, but daily. Not with denial, but with discipline. He trained his thoughts like a warrior trains the sword, because he knew the mind left untrained will turn on you. But the mind trained with truth can turn any storm into silence. Training the mind like a Stoic warrior, Marcus Aurelius didn't wait for life to be easy. He trained for life to be hard. And that's the difference between people who break and people who bend but never snap. Pain didn't surprise him. Loss didn't break him. Chaos didn't rattle him. Why? Because he practiced every single day a kind of mental armor. You see, most people treat peace like something they'll feel after everything calms down. Marcus flipped that. He made peace a practice, a choice, a discipline. He trained his thoughts the way a warrior trains his body. And here's how you can too. 1. Morning inventory. What can I expect today? Every morning, Marcus reminded himself, today I shall meet with interference, ingratitude, insolence, disloyalty, ill will, and selfishness, not to be cynical, but to be ready. He didn't hope people would be perfect. He expected imperfection and stayed calm anyway. Practice this each morning. Take 1 minute to list what chaos might come, not to fear it, but to disarm it. You don't suffer what you've already accepted. 2. Control filter. Is this mine to carry? When something bothered him, Marcus asked, is this within my control? If yes, he acted. If no, he released. That's it. No rumination, no drama, no spiraling. Practice this. Every time you feel triggered, pause and ask, is this mine to carry? If not, let it drop like a hot coal, like a lie. You don't have to carry what was never yours. 3. Rehearse death memento mori. Marcus constantly reminded himself, you could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do, say and think. Morbid? No. Clarifying. Because when you realize you're not promised another day, the small stuff stops mattering. You stop arguing to be right. You stop clinging to fake identities. You stop suffering over things that never truly mattered. Practice this. Each night ask yourself, if this was my last day, did I suffer for anything unworthy of my soul? It's not meant to scare you. It's meant to sharpen you. 4. Reframe instantly. Marcus didn't suppress thoughts, he reframed them. Something hurt? He redefined it. Something went wrong? He found the lesson. He didn't lie to himself, he told deeper truths. Practice this. Next time something triggers you, reframe it in real time. Not why is this happening to me, but what strength is this asking me to build? Every reframe weakens the grip of suffering. Every new frame becomes a new freedom. This is the Stoic path, not cold, not numb, not passive, but deeply awake, calm in the storm, strong, not because life is easy, but because you trained for the pain. Marcus Aurelius didn't become unshakable by accident. He built it, and now you are too. If this content is making sense to you, then click the subscribe button and subscribe to the channel. Thank you for your support. The power of non-reaction. Not every battle is worth fighting. Not every wound needs defending. Not every insult deserves a response. Marcus Aurelius was a warrior, but his greatest power was silence. Not silence out of weakness, silence out of strength. He understood something most people never will. Reaction is surrender. The moment you react without reflection, you hand your power to the thing that triggered you. That's how you lose peace. That's how you lose control. But when you don't react, you don't collapse. You observe, you choose, you stay centered in yourself. Even when the world pulls at every string, this is non-reaction. And it is not passivity, it is presence. It is the ability to hold emotion without being ruled by it. To let pain move through you without becoming its echo. Here's how Marcus described it. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Notice the order. First comes realization, then comes strength. Because once you realize that most things are not about you, you stop reacting like they are. Someone insults you? Let them speak. That's a reflection of their chaos, not your character. Someone betrays you. Feel the pain, grieve the loss, but don't build your life around their brokenness. The Stoic doesn't suppress their feelings. They just don't let those feelings drive the car. Non-reaction is not denial. It's divine delay. You pause, you breathe. You choose your next move with clarity, not chaos. Let me give you a real example. Let's say someone close to you says something that cuts deep. In that moment, your instinct is to defend, to fight back, to explain. Instead, you pause. You ask, is this about me or their own fear? Do I need to fix this or just feel it and release? Will my response bring peace or just feed the fire? That pause, that one breath is where your power lives. Because the truth is this, most of the time, your reaction won't fix the problem. It'll just add noise to it. But your stillness, that makes the world feel its own echo. That makes others sit with their own chaos. You don't need to win every battle. Sometimes your silence says more than your defense ever could. Marcus wasn't cold, he wasn't emotionless, he was clear. He chose his energy like a master swordsman chooses his strikes, rarely, precisely, and only when necessary. When you stop reacting to everything, you stop leaking your energy into things that don't serve your growth. You become lighter, clearer, calmer, you suffer less, because you've stopped grabbing the flame every time it dances in front of you. Becoming unbreakable from the inside out. You don't need a perfect life to find peace. You need an inner foundation that doesn't crumble every time life gets messy. And that's what Marcus Aurelius mastered. He didn't seek control over the world. He sought control over his response to it. Because here's the truth. The world will disappoint you. People will leave. Plans will fail. Pain will visit. But none of it has to own you. Most people think peace is something they'll have once the storm passes. But Marcus, he found peace inside the storm, and not because he avoided pain, but because he faced it without flinching. He understood this. You don't need to fight every feeling. You need to stop believing every thought. Let me ask you something. What if the next time life hurts, you don't rush to fix it? You don't numb it, you don't label it, you don't collapse under it. You just breathe, you let it rise, you let it pass. You let it teach, and then you keep walking, not because you're numb, but because you've built something stronger than the pain. You've built a self, not a mask, not a persona, not an identity stitched together by other people's approval, a real self. Rooted in truth, calm in chaos, steady in storms. This is what makes you unbreakable. Not because you never fall, but because you know how to rise. Not because you never feel, but because you don't become what you feel. Not because life doesn't hurt, but because you've stopped turning pain into identity. You've trained for this. Every moment of stillness, every journal entry, every breath you've taken instead of reacting. You've been building a life from the inside out, and now nothing can shake it unless you let it in. This is Stoicism, this is strength, this is freedom. But we're not done yet, because while suffering may come from pain, there's a deeper wound that most people carry for years: control. The feeling of being pulled by other people's opinions, moods, and expectations. The exhaustion of constantly giving your power away. In the next video, we dive into Carl Jung's teachings on exactly that. How to stop letting people control you. Carl Jung. We'll break the invisible strings, we'll pull your energy back in, and we'll show you how to stop giving others the power to shape your reality. Keep watching. Depthoria is just beginning.